All right, guys, let's go live just to give you guys a quick little market update. I know it's been a while since I've been live. I think it's been around 50, 60 days, something like that. But I've taken a little break from the markets. Markets have been fucking terrible. So there's actually no point even, being on live. But I'm going to start getting back onto the YouTube stuff. Those of you that are, that actually want to interact, well, come join the free Telegram group. I'm in there quite often, posting updates, etc. But I'm going to be getting back on the YouTube stuff. I don't have a webcam at the moment, by the way, guys. My webcam's broken. I'm going to order a new one as well. But let's go over the overall market conditions at the moment. What to expect moving forward in the next, let's say, month or two, because the market at the moment is very split between 4-year cyclists. Someone type in the chat if they can hear me. We'll make sure everything's all right. I don't want to be talking and this shit's not working. Let me know if people can hear me real quick, bro. I don't want to be talking for fucking 10, 15 minutes and then, I'm muted or whatever. Good, yeah? Perfect. Anyways, so the market at the moment is split between, we've got the 4-year cyclists, and then you got the macro liquidity cycle, theorists or whatever you want to call them, right? The 4-year cyclists, the market pretty much topped in October. That was in line with the 4-year cycle, and it so far is pretty much a split copy of the previous cycle. If you look at this, right, so you got the initial phase, and then you get the drop, right? So you get this drop, which was in early April, and then you get the second wave, which is this right here. Look how spitting this shit is right now. So, and then you had this second drop right here after the second top. Obviously, this top was a lot bigger than this one. So, you can see where the 4-year cyclists do have a very valid reason. If you look at the chart, it looks very similar. If the 4-year cycle is still intact, then the next likely scenario is, if you look at this over here, when we topped in the previous cycle, what you got was you get a rally. So you get this dip, you get a second dip, which is a higher low, and then you get a rally back up to the 200-day. And if you get rejected off the 200-day, then you are most likely going to continue lower. So in the coming month, I would say sometime in January. At the moment, there is a lot of manipulation. If you look at the Bitcoin chart, this is very easy to trade as well. If you're shorting, long in the market, it doesn't matter which one you're doing, right? As soon as the market opens at 2 p.m. or I think it's 2:30 UK time, the market always dumps and then it recovers. It dumps and recovers, and it's been doing this consistently for the last 2 weeks, I would say. And this is because there's an entity, and they do this. Is pure manipulation. They keep the price steady at the one level. So when it goes above 93, 94K, their bot already triggers the sell button, and then when it comes down here, they also buy. It's very, very weird. But that is going to expire on the 26th. So after the 26th, that I think it's about $23 billion worth of options that's going to expire. And I think after that expires, the market will start to catch up. Are we going to rally to the 200-day, or are we going to rally to about 100 to, the 200K at the moment is at 107 on the daily? Or are we going to rally to the 100? I think we will go past the 200 days, slightly above. I think anywhere between 106 to 112 is the area, I would be looking to de-risk a little bit, depending on how the market condition is at that time. Because, there is still a chance that the 4-year cycle is in play, even though it's not my base case. I think you overall want to follow the liquidity cycle, because crypto more or less depends on liquidity. At the moment, no one gives a shit about crypto. It's very evident because you look at the stock market just put in a new all-time high. Look at gold just put in a new all-time high. You look at silver's at all-time high. Copper is probably going to rally next. I have bought some copper recently, even though, it's probably not going to give you shit, but it's whatever. It's a little bit of trade on the side, right? Copper is most likely going to make a little move. Dominance is just chop. Dominance is just pure chop. It's not doing anything crazy. It broke down at this, bearish pattern like it did over here, and now it's just slowly climbing higher. No one really wants to go into altcoins at the moment. That's why if you look at the others chart, it does look. I have a feeling others will come and fill this gap. A lot of, I think it will come down a bit more unless some bullish news happens. So unless it breaks this structure in the short to medium term, the likely chance is it'll probably come down and fill this gap. It doesn't have to. You guys can see over here, right? We came down here and then we rallied back up, but then it never really filled that gap. So the exact same thing can happen again. We came down here, went back up, and it does not have to fill this gap. So maybe the bottom's already in, because if it looks anything similar to this, then the bottom could have been around the 80K region. If you look at just simple stuff like this, right? The market right now in the West specifically, Coinbase, Binance, there's a lot of selling pressure for BTC, and it's only coming from the Western entities. A lot of these ETFs, a lot of these bigger companies, institutions, whatever you call them, they started top blasting BTC above 100K. They were top blasted over here. So then when Bitcoin corrected and October 10th happened, I don't know if I made a video or went live after October 10th, but what happened on October 10th was, probably the biggest, scammiest, API mess up for Binance. Binance API messed up. Everything happened on Binance first, and then it trickled down to all these other exchanges. So I don't know if you guys have seen, but Atom, Cosmos, which is $1 or $2 billion in market cap, went down to 1 cent. From $2 to 1 cent, it went down 200x. So that's probably one of the scammiest things that happened. So that after that October 10th, market it's never been the same. Every single time we get good news, we had inflation drop the other day from 3% to 2.6%, and no one gave a shit. That's I think October 10th pretty much liquidated so many traders that the money just got wiped out. And every time we get an event like this, we have FTX, it normally takes anywhere between 2 months for the market to recover. So, I would say sometime in Jan, maybe early Feb, the market will start to rally a little bit, in my opinion. After this expiry date 26, I think the market is going to start to push up. I don't think we're going to go below 80K in the short term. I know a lot of people are waiting for 80K or 78K or whatever, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think the lows are in at 80K in the short term. Can we come down later in a few months down, of course? But in the short term, in the next 2 months, I would say, I don't think Bitcoin is going to go below 80K. I don't even think it's going to go below 85K, honestly, because the options expires in 2 days. And if you look at all the market makers, they're already positioned. They're pushing. Once the expiry is done, the market can start to climb back up now. So that's my base case. I think we rally to 106 all the way to 112K. And that is the area I think everyone, whether you hold too many low caps or you hold, even high caps, to be honest. I mean, you got to realize, guys, the market works in narratives. The market has always worked in narratives. If next year the narratives will not be the same as this year, I think RWA will still be massive. RWA is getting the most adoption at the moment. It's projected to grow anywhere between 10 to 100x in the next 5-6 years. So 2026, I think RWA will have a decent rally. I think robotics is going to start to come into play because, one thing you guys got to realize with the stock market is they can't afford the stock market to crash 10 to 15%. And the only way they won't allow the stock market to crash is to keep expanding and keep, growing this AI bubble. I don't think it's a bubble. It's starting to become a little bit over evaluated in terms of the market caps of some of these Mag 7 companies, the AI companies. However, I don't think it's a bubble because a bubble is, by definition, the fundamentals do not match the stock price. However, what we're seeing today is the fundamentals match the stock price going up, even though the stock price is going up way more than it should. But the fundamentals at least backs it up because every single quarter, these companies are earning more than they're projected. A lot of these the revenue stuff is all is I don't know how the fuck they calculate it. Um, it's there's a lot of rumors and stuff that these guys are messing around with the books to make it seem like they're earning way more than they are, but it doesn't matter. The market sees what they see, and that's how and they react based on what they see pretty much. So if Nvidia is earning more than they were projected, then Nvidia is going to pump. That's how it works. But there is a lot of smart money dumping the stocks because stocks is at all-time highs. There's a lot of smart money starting to take profits of gold because gold's at all-time high. I think gold in the short to medium term, I think the top for gold is in, and I think the top for silver is in as well because generally metals they tend to cool off January or the start of the year. Anything else? Let me think. Yeah, so right now, like I said, the market is split between liquidity camp, the macro people that believe in the macro, the liquidity cycle, the business cycle, versus people that just follow the 4-year cycle. And so far, it looks like the 4-year cyclists at the moment are very, very confident. They predicted Bitcoin to come down to 50 to 60K. I don't really think that's my base case is if we do get a little bit of a little cool off period or the bear market, whatever you want to call it, I think we'll rally back up to the 200-day, slightly above maybe 112 to 108, to anywhere between 106 to 112K. I think we will rally up there. We have done it in the previous, even if it's a bear market, it always rallies to the 200-day. And then I think we come down to around 60 to 70K. I don't think we will go below this area right here. I don't think so. I think 60K is going to be the bottom, maybe 70K. My base case is if we hit 70K, I will start the DCA. I'm not waiting for 40, 50K, whatever you want to call it, because that's too low. The market has changed now. We're in a business cycle. It's not going to play out exactly the same as all the previous cycles. We could even potentially go even higher because Bitcoin right now is the only asset, or crypto is the only asset that's struggling, while metals are all-time high, stocks are all-time high, equities are all-time high. This is the only thing that's struggling. And one of the things you have to keep in mind is next year is the refinancing year and it's the midterms year. When the midterm year happens, you have to, this is what Trump is saying that they're going to do for next year. So strong economic data is no longer bullish because markets immediately price in Fed tightening. So basically, what he's trying to say is the market is kind of broken right now. Whenever we get bearish news or bullish news, the market dumps because even though we got inflation coming down from 3% to 2.6%, people think, it's bearish. Or GDP goes up, from 3% to 4.2. People think, the Fed's not going to cut. So something to look forward to is, and I think the market will price this in the next month or two. Next month, I think it is, start of Jan, they're going to announce the new Fed chair. So Powell is going to be replaced in April. And as soon as the new Fed chair is announced, the market is going to start to reprice in a lot more rate cuts. Than at the moment, market is pricing in 2 rate cuts for 26. It is. I don't think we're going to get in Jan, but for 2026, it is projected only 2 more rate cuts. Pretty much, that's it. Only 2 more rate cuts for 2026. So, and I think as soon as they announce the new Fed chair, that's going to instantly change, because the whole point Trump wants to do is he wants to refinance $9 to $10 trillion, but he wants to do on the lowest interest rates because the higher the interest rates, the more they have to pay. It's that simple. Good news, blah blah blah. So yeah, what he's basically saying is, when the new Fed chair comes in, he has to cut. That's basically what he's saying, and that's something the market will price in as soon as he announces who he's talking about. Right now, we have the whack off, whatever the fuck it's called, distribution. Now it's the whack off accumulation. So keep an eye on this. Bitcoin is in the accumulation phase. A lot of the whales are accumulating hard. If you look at, let me see if we can find the chart. But if you look at wallets from that hold 1K to 100K Bitcoin, it's at all-time highs. So people that hold 1K to 100K are accumulating levels that we've never seen before. So there's a lot of buying happening. And these guys are, when the sentiment is at all-time lows, when no one wants to buy. And this is another thing that a lot of people say, right? A lot of people come into crypto, they're like, oh man, I wish I was here in 2022 and this time I wish I would have bought the lows. Yeah, in hindsight, fucking 2 years later when everything's done 100x, yes, you would have bought the lows in hindsight. But when it's actually happening, are you buying the lows? This is what a lot of people do not do. And people got to remember this. Sentiment gets really bad and your sentiment will also get affected during that time. So when you look at all these high caps, that's dumped 80, 90% the last couple of months. Are you really going to buy? Most people won't. Only very few people do. And those are the smart money. And that's why even though Bitcoin is looking really bad right now, is dumped 40% from all-time highs. There's only specific smart people accumulating now. So when it rallies, they sell. And then the people that didn't want to buy down here and they start to see everything going up, they buy up here and they become exit liquidity. And that's what I think is going to happen. The people that's not buying down here, whether you want to put longs on Bitcoin or you want to buy some high caps, whatever it is, right? Because you buy here, you sell up here, you de-risk up here, and if the market continues, it doesn't matter. You still got positions open, but if it rolls over, you need cash on the side. Over the last year and a half, ever since I've been on YouTube, my number one rule is always to have cash on the side. 20-30% cash is what I always do. Most of the time I do 20. I've been trading here and there, so my cash pile has increased a decent amount over the last year. But cash on the side, so a lot of people will look at this as a loss or whatever. Just take it as a learning opportunity. No one ever comes in a first cycle and makes stupid amount of money. The best thing to do, in my opinion, is take it as a learning lesson. Moving forward from now is you know what to do from now on. The best thing to do is learn from your mistakes, in my opinion. October, November, whatever the fuck is called, bro. Canton Network looks very promising. Yeah, Canton Network is actually a good project. They got some crazy partnerships. Obviously, it's not. It's a decent high cap. I have been trading it here and there. I'm mostly right now. I got my cash. I'm trading. I'm holding my projects because right now you should only be worried about, especially when you're down on some of these altcoins. The only thing you should do is look at which projects are generating revenue, which ones are still updating, which ones are still developing, because those are the ones that are going to survive. And when they do survive, some altcoins can go from 200, in a real bull run, which, when liquidity comes back, because right now liquidity is the tightest it's been in years. Very, very tight liquidity. The Fed is pumping billions into the banking system because the banks are struggling. Liquidity is tight. Banks do not want to borrow money at the moment. Too much risk. And that's not going to stay like that forever. Liquidity will come back. And when it comes back, you want to be positioned in the correct narratives. Even right now, there's still little shits pumping in there. But you look for the best narratives. Look for what's getting the adoption. And, I'm not telling you to buy now, but at least add stuff to your watch list. Add projects to your watch list, because projects that you on your watch list today, they won't stay on your watch list in 3-4 months time. They won't, because some of these will not develop. They'll stop posting. They won't work on their products, and those are the ones that are going to be dead. You want to look at projects that are still developing, still making their project a lot better, because shit's not going to stay down forever, bro. There is going to be decent pumps along in 2026 because liquidity will start to get a bit looser. Midterm years tend to be, if Trump wants to win the midterms, he has to pump the markets. You can't have the markets at all-time low. You can't have the stock market crash. You can't have crypto down. And they are going to pump it. And these rate cuts are going to be a main driver of looser monetary policy, because the Fed has already ended QT. QT officially ended the start of December, and they are buying back T-bills monthly. I think it's 30 to 40 billion monthly T-bill buybacks. And whether you want to call this as money printing or, it is called not QE because it's still money printing. They are still money printing, but it's not stimulative. They don't call it stimulative. It doesn't matter. They did the exact same thing in 2019. After the Fed ended QT in October in 2019, they started to buy back T-bills somewhere around these regions. Started to buy back T-bills. 2019 October, I think it was, ended QT. Market had a low rally, sold off, and then it started to climb before COVID hit, right? But during these times, QE has already started. They don't call it QE. They used to, but they used to buy 30 million monthly T-bills. Now they're buying around the same region, and they didn't call it QE at that time, right? And they're not calling it QE now. Till then, real QE came. The system, when they have to refinance all this debt, someone has to buy that debt, whether it's countries, whether it's the Fed. Maybe the Fed has to step in and buy this debt because all these foreign countries, they're selling all their debt. Japan has been selling nonstop. And another thing, and this is quite sad because a lot of people that are not, that don't really understand, they don't really understand specific, macros and all these other stuff. Like when you see people on Twitter become pros on a specific topic, for example, what's it called? The carry trade, for example. When everyone becomes a pro in the carry trade is no longer alive, pretty much. Like, like for the last 2 weeks, anyone that went on X before Japan raised the interest rates, everyone was like, oh, Japan's about to increase the interest rates. Bitcoin's going to dump 30-40%. And then, not all of them guys delete their tweets and they don't talk shit, and they don't mention it again. The carry trade is now dead, in my opinion, because the whole point of a carry trade is you buy yen on very low interest, and then you buy assets with that, make money on the assets, and then when they raise the interest, you sell the assets and then go back into the yen. But what's happened now with the Japanese yen is the long end is at all-time highs. The 10-year is at all-time highs. So it no longer becomes profitable to borrow from the currency. That's why the carry trade, in my opinion, is dead. And you guys, the carry trade is dead, right? When they raise interest rates and what's it called? JPY doesn't come down. Every other time they've increased the interest rates, JPY has always come down against the dollar. It's always come down, right? It's dead now. The carry trade is dead. People are not going to go to Japan anymore because the debt to GDP is terrible. Carry trade is fully dead. But, if it was a week ago, everyone would have been fear-mongered and scared or whatever. Okay, let's answer some questions. Britt, good to see you, bro. J-Tin, how you doing, my friend? Malin, how you doing, bro? I'm still okay with OTK. I'm not really a fan of. I still hold very small amount of OTK, but I'm not a fan of the gaming narrative, bro. Like something has to happen for the gaming narrative for it to pump, and I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. It's just, well, if you look at all these gaming coins, like one by one, they're starting to announce we're stepping down. We're no longer with the project. So I'm not really too bullish on gaming at the moment, my friend. Like I have not been bullish for gaming all through 2025. This is what I'm talking about. Like there's the market is split between 4-year cyclists that have no real theory, but they just believe of the 4th year after the halving, Bitcoin dumps. But in my opinion, the reason Bitcoin dumps every single time because Bitcoin came out after the financial crash, and after every financial crash, what happens? You have the refinancing year, which got pushed from 4 years into 5 years recently, right? But then when Bitcoin performed, it was always during QE. And then when they started to, raise interest rates or QT start, Bitcoin always came down. In my opinion, we are in 2019 That's what I think. This is what my base case is. We are in 2019 and we are not in, this stage, whatever you want to call it, because this entire bull run for Bitcoin has happened on QT. It's happened through adoption from institutions. Bitcoin is a small asset compared to all these other assets. It doesn't need a lot of money. Like even if a lot of institutions even put 1 or 2% of their portfolios into Bitcoin, it will do these type of numbers. But 2019, right? I personally think we're in 2019, and I'll tell you why. Because in 2019, 2018, right, Bitcoin had this initial rally, not on the back of QE, not on the back of anything specific. It just had this rally because it started to become a more, respected asset class, right? Started compared to is obviously a lot more respected now. But we got ahead of ourselves. Bitcoin obviously came and corrected. And then once QT ended and then QE started, Bitcoin started to actually move back up, right? So it started to move back up, and then we had this COVID spike. You could say that October 10th was pretty much the COVID spike. And then they started to do mass QE. Now, do I think, are they going to do stupid amounts of QE in 2026? I don't think so. I think the Fed will start to expand their balance sheet, but I don't think they will do it in any meaningful way where it's going to be like 2020 or 2019. But, even if the Fed expands their balance sheet, even a decent amount, it will still give the market a very good rally. But most of this rally that's happened the last 4 years is being on the back of institutional adoption. That's literally it, nothing else. So when QE comes, whatever, I don't think it will be potent QE, but it might be 1 to 3 trillion here and there. Balance sheet expansion, market will still rally on the back of that. And then, just like all fiat system, when 1 or 3 trillion isn't working, they're going to eventually go back into the crazy QE. And they might just print 10 trillion in one go. That's how the fiat system is made. That's how it's always going to work. They can't default on the debt. They have to keep printing because the whole system runs on printing. The government spending is at all-time highs. Why do you think the market crashed as soon as the government shut down? Why did inflation come down as soon as government shut down? Because most of that, inflation comes from government spending. So I think we're kind of in the early stages of 2019 or medium stages of 2019 where we had this initial big rally from Bitcoin, and then it went into a corrective phase, which is kind of where we are now. And then obviously during this time, Fed did end QT in 2019, sometime around October, I think it was. And then they started to do small QE, buying back 30 billion treasury bills, which is exactly what they did, the exact same playbook. And during this time, we had the banking crisis bullshit, the SOFR, exact same thing, exact same playbook is happening now. Exact same. A lot of people will tell you, oh, QE isn't coming. There will be QE. It just won't be the same level of QE as we've seen in 2019 because that was COVID or whatever you want to call it. It will probably be 1 or 3 trillion because if GDP is going up, which is forecasted to go up next year, then the Fed has to expand their balance sheet to match GDP. As long as inflation is and if you look at trueflation is at like 2%, I think, 2.2%. I don't know what the fuck I put it. I don't think it's on here, but trueflation is at 2.2%. So inflation is coming down, and it is around, the Fed's target. And these tariffs are deflationary anyways. I've said this a million times. Tariffs are deflationary. It's not inflationary. So yeah, I personally think we're playing out like 2019, where Bitcoin went crazy numbers, got a little bit too ahead of his time. Then it's going to go into a little bit of a correction phase, down to around 70K region. One more rally up, come down 70K region, and then you're going to get an explosion to the 180s, the targets that most people, when it comes to up here, people are going to call for like 300-400K in my opinion. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think we get a low rally back up to like the 200-day, cool off, come down to around 70K. This will be your area to do risk, and then the market will start to, I think that's when the Fed will actually start to expand the balance sheet. Phenom, good to see you, buddy. I only hold up private coins. I'm not in a rush to get money out on next release Friday. Should I sell these halo caps? One thing you can do, my friend, is you can sell the ones you don't have conviction in, and as long as you have cash and you can buy shit lower, you don't really have to do too much. But as long as you have cash to buy lower, it's up to you. That's like a personal thing. Like you can always sell and then get, let's say you got 5K in a coin, it goes up to 5K up here, right? And it comes down here. And maybe if it comes down 50%, you can get double the amount of tokens for the same amount of money. I look at it in tokens, not about money value, because in the grand scheme of things, when everything pumps, you want to have as much tokens as possible, not how much money you have in the token. It's about how much token numbers you have. Santa Valley first. I don't know, but Santa's not real, bro. I don't want to call it Santa Valley. I want to call it the relief rally towards the 200 day. Considering everything's down 90%, could go much more. When would the optimal? This is the thing, right, Alec? There's a big difference, and I'll tell you what the big difference is, right? Massive difference is in all previous cycles, when and this is why I don't think alts will go down. A lot of Bitcoin maxis say, yeah, alts can go down 90%, but they can go down another 99% or 92%, whatever. They can if Bitcoin dominance was somewhere down here. You can. But because Bitcoin dominance is up here and near the all-time highs, I don't see alts going down that much, even if Bitcoin goes down to 70K. Not another 90% at least, but they can go down 15, 20%. Some of them won't even move because they don't follow the general market, the low caps, whatever. Like Bricken, for example, Bricken has held better than all high caps. It's held better than Ethereum pretty much. It's even held better than Bitcoin the last fucking, So low caps have a mind of their own. But the best area, would it be optimal to DCA back in? When would be? I think it depends what you want to do. If you want to buy in now and then take profits up here, then now is not a bad time to DCA in, because I think in the next couple of weeks or the next month, I think the relief rally will come. You can always buy now, but to be safe, if you got cash on the side and you want to trade, you'd rather buy the high caps, because high caps are more or less guaranteed to move up with Bitcoin, whereas low caps are not. But like I said, as long as these projects are still developing, and look for areas or narratives that have the best chance to pump next year, which in my opinion is going to be AI, robotics, and RWA, because robotics will start to take shape next year, because Tesla is going to be releasing their robots next year, I think, and other companies are going to follow suit. And that's all you need, really, when you have one big company. For example, why did AI agents pump in 2024? Because NVIDIA was supposed to release the AI agents in December, so the market ran on it. And when Tesla is ready to release their robots, robotics coins in crypto will pump as well. That's just how it is in crypto. My feeling on silver, I think silver will probably have one little pump higher. So, so the best time to get in silver was, down here. I was gonna buy some silver bars just for fuck this, man. But silver is in this blow off phase. It can go to about 78, 76 to about $80 per whatever it is per ounce, right? This is the area I'll be looking for. Can I call it a rectangle? This is the area I'll be looking for finger silver. This is the area between 70 to 80. I don't think silver is going to go higher than this, in my opinion. I don't think silver will go higher than this. You gotta keep in mind, guys, nothing will go up forever. This and gold specifically, I think, will have decent correction in Jan. But gold tends to have decade-long bull runs. So even if gold comes down, whatever, to down here or to maybe down here somewhere, my guess is gold will probably come down to 3.5 to 4K region, and it will hold there. People will accumulate there, and it will continue to go higher. Over the next 3-4 years, in my opinion, gold will continue higher because one of the main reasons, and this is so weird because the whole point Bitcoin was created was for the debasement trade. And what's happening now is no one gives a shit about Bitcoin, and everyone's going into gold and silver for the specific reason of the debasement trade. The reason no one wants to, hold cash, the reason dollars going down daily is mainly because, fiat loses its value, gold and silver doesn't. That's how it is. And Bitcoin should be going up, but Bitcoin is very manipulated. These fucking, until the Clarity Act, the Structure Act, until these pass, manipulation will continue 100%. I think once that actually passes, manipulation will come down 70-80%. And Bitcoin can actually do what it's supposed to do. One of the main reasons, what's it called? Market is not moving now is because it's held hostage by fucking Wintermute, Binance, Bybit, and these offshore exchanges. They're holding Bitcoin hostage. It's very evident. Every time we pump, they sell 2 to 3 billion. Every time we go down, they buy and then manipulate. This is why Bitcoin is looking at this. It's just pure manipulation. Until that gets sorted, smart money is not going to come back into crypto in the short term, in my opinion. They're going to go into stocks. They're going to go into Bitcoin, in gold and silver. So until that structure bill, and because October 10th, I guarantee you, fucked up a lot of institutions as well. A lot of them, because it was just a massive drop in just this in the matter of 30 minutes. No institution is going to be active, during that time to sell because most of them don't know. There's a few that maybe have close ties. They probably knew because it was, in my opinion, it was coordinated. It's not a fucking coincidence that as soon as before October 10th happens, some whales open up new wallets on what's that website called? Hyperliquid, and open up $1 to $2 billion shorts on Bitcoin. It's not a coincidence. It's all coordinated, man. Oh no, CZ needs to go back to fucking jail, bro. Yeah, a 4-year cycle is a self-fulfilling prophecy now rather than a natural mechanical process. Though. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the thing is like the halving matters to the point at the start of the Bitcoin life. At the end, it doesn't matter. It's like 1.5% of the supply gets added. It makes no difference. It used to make a difference because there was so much more supply being added, but now it doesn't. Jay Sheldon, good to see you, bro. Declan, my G, how you doing, bro? To make up for some of the coin losses, what mid coverage you recommend trading relief rally? Yeah, so what I've done now is I don't know if you're still in the private group or not, my friend, but I have opened up copy trading, and for the next 2 months, I would say I'm going to make the group copy trade my trades because I've been doing pretty well on the trades. I caught some decent trades the last 2-3 days. I did a good trade on night, did a good trade on wet, did a good trade on nobody. Let me show you some of these coins. So I got into this one right here, just before it broke out. So if you look at night, for example, right? So I got into it literally in this area right here as it was building up. And then I took profits around 8 cents, somewhere around here. Then I took a little bit more profits up here, right? And then I got into this as well, just before it broke out. Where's it called? Wet? I don't know why it's not here. It's the new Solana coin. It's called Wet, but I don't know why the fuck it's not here. But it's the new Solana coin, done very well. And then I also traded this as well today. This one right here. Nobody sausage. So it's been doing really well. These guys got some sort of treasury. So I got into it right over here around 12 to 13 before he broke out. Took some profits, traded it, and then got back in again and traded it, on this move here. I missed this move over here, but I got in somewhere down here. I think it was around here somewhere. Got in at 14, 15, and then sold around 19 or some shit. These are like 20, 30% moves. So that's what I'm doing right now to make up some losses. Is I've opened up copy trading, so people in the group can just pretty much copy my trades and what trades I'm doing. That's how I'm doing my cash. again. That's what I've been pretty much doing all year. Like this is what I've told people all year. Have 20-30% cash and use that to trade. There's so much trading opportunities, bro. Like not so much the last 2 months because market's been so ass. Like no good news pumps it. But before that, there were so many opportunities to trade. So many. And you could have traded with size or the high caps. So yeah. That's just wanted to do a quick 45-minute live. Nothing too crazy. It's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas to all the guys that celebrate it. I don't personally celebrate it, but Merry Christmas to all you guys. Um, go enjoy some time with your family, friends, etc. The markets are not going to go anywhere in the short term. I don't really think Bitcoin will not go below 80K in the short term, so you don't have to worry about that. And it will not go below 85K in the short term, in my opinion. I think from tomorrow onwards or the 26th onwards, markets will start to climb up higher because that clog that we have keeping the price suppressed at 93K and the clog that does prevents the price going below 84K will end on the 26th. I need to find that post, but join the free Telegram group. Is the HTBTC in the description. Join that and I'll post it in there. It's so weird because it's like a clog where a specific company pays 700 to 800 million, right, to keep the price suppressed in that two areas. It's so weird, but it's something to do with some gamma bullshit. But I was reading about it, but it was quite interesting. But it's crazy because any company can do that at will. That's what's crazy. That's how this market, because it doesn't need a lot of money to manipulate. It is very easy to send the price higher or lower. Very easy. There's no liquidity. All these market makers, there's quite a few market makers that broke on October the 10th. Wintermute supposedly took a massive hit. So they've been selling their crypto, reshuffling their portfolios. And and that's and I think Coinbase called out Binance for this as well. There is going to be lawsuits, probably, maybe, hopefully, because even Financial Times posted about Binance and their fuckery. So even after the 4.4 billion plea deal, Binance is still fucking around. So right now, Binance is the cancer of the crypto space. They need to be regulated fast. Hold on, I got a trade open. Fuck, come on. It's doing okay. But yeah, guys, if you don't have any more questions, like I said, if you have any questions, I'm always active on. Someone asked me about, is the State X team still alive? Yes, they are. They are still alive. State X is still very active. Very active. But just follow the Twitter. It's one of the easiest things to do. State X. Look, just follow the Twitter. Like these guys. So the launchpad will be confirmed. So it's already been confirmed. So it's going to launch along with their layer one. So the mainnet and the launchpad launches at the end of Jan. So that's when everything's going to really. That's when everything's going to start to. I think they're going to start earning some revenue and doing some buybacks and stuff. Is Sensei still active? Yeah, Sensei is very active, bro. They've just released the new product. They're going to keep scaling in 2026, getting more customers, expanding the business. And they're supposedly going to do some marketing soon as well. But it's like, do you really want to market in this market conditions? Because I don't think any amount of marketing, anything, will do anything. But this project's fucking, like, Virtual's earning 60, 70 million a year. But the price keeps going down. Like, no one gives a shit about anything these days. Are we ever going to see 0.01 cent? 1 cent? 0.01? Again? I think in the future, maybe. As long as the team continues to work and develops, the price will always catch up because like the dilution for Sensei is not much. It's not crazy dilution. All the early investors already got out months, years ago. So the only thing that's really going to affect anything is pretty much how they develop. If they continue to get more customers, continue to expand, they got a good token utility, so that's always useful. But they care about the token, so that's always my G. How you doing, bro? I'm just about to get off actually. But yeah, all these look, every single project are still active. Just follow the Twitter, go into the Telegram, see what they do. All these projects are very active. Assuming as we are in 2019, analog could RWA. They will peak sometime in 2026, maybe in 2027 latest. But 2026 is looking like, if because the 2019 scenario has already started. We got the top, we got the peak, consolidation for a bit, and then they'll do some sort of balance sheet expansion next year, in my opinion, and then everything will pick back up. Because no asset class will ever stay down forever, never. Especially now how bad it is now. But during these times, there's a lot of people accumulating, especially Bitcoin. A lot of whales are accumulating. Yeah, that's exactly right, bro. Like the best thing to do right now is farm some fiat, go to work, farm some fiat, trade, maybe even farm some fiat. That's what I'm trying to do, like with the copy trading, bro. I'm trying to get people in the group to farm, to make some money, cash on the side, so they have money to buy these projects. Like for example, the robotics. Look at Peak, look at Archie, look at these projects that that's actually building something in that sector. Because once the narrative comes, no one's gonna give a shit about nothing, bro. I'm not really too focused on low caps, but one of the strongest ones in my opinion is Brick, and this is one that I'm still accumulating slowly. I have not been buying low caps recently as much, but like I'm just look how strong this project is in my like this is crazy strong, bro. If you look at the max, like this is a very still has not gone below its 2023 lows. Cetus still bullish on it. I've never been bullish on Cetus personally. I don't even know what the fuck is this the one. Didn't this get hacked? I swear this got hacked. Am I tripping, bro? Yeah, I've never been bullish on this, bro. I'm not really a fan of too many. Like the DeFi stuff is good, but it mostly depends on the chain. And right now, Sui is not looking the best. So when Sui picks up, obviously the chain will always pick up. That's how it always works. So, when the main chain does well, the ecosystem follows. But anyways, guys, I got some guests in my house, bro. So I'll be live again. I'll be live again very soon. Next event, I'll probably do live maybe twice a week, just back to the regular, start building up the channel again, bro. But it's good to see all of you guys still active, bro. Like not many people are active in the space right now. A lot of people, there's so many people act like they want to make money in the space, but you have to be active when everyone leaves, bro. Honestly, that's how you make money, man. You have to be there when no one's willing to be there. So the fact that you guys are here, I think it's good. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Hit the likes. I'll see you guys on the next live stream. I'll be live again. What day is it today? One day. I'll be live again on Sunday. I think I'll do 2 days a week. Sunday is the next time I'll go live. Take care, guys. Bye bye.